theism. Theist
Oh,
from
Detroit
different
here.
theist.
Wait, let's get Detroit up here. Hold on.
Yeah, fucking
Let's get,
you get
let's
Detroit.
get Detroit here. What? There we go. There we go.
Who's the
Yo, it's
theist?
good, boss
Me.
man.
Yo, what's up?
Not much, man. Let's
You
moderate
just
these two, bro. It's
chilling
gonna
in
be
here?
theism versus atheism, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Stream Kovacs. Gonna stream Kovacs to the lovely audience, you know.
The
Damn, bro,
loveliest, I'm
Kylo's pretty
sure.
nervous, man. He's still peeing.
Nah, I was actually just switching my
Oh,
location.
my bad.
Doing some last minute, research.
Oh,
Last minute research, yeah, man.
Few more prompts into ChatGPT. You know how it is.
Shit, man.
She.
All right.
I'll keep that on. Yeah, I'm doing this with Facecam, guys, as you can see.
Why are there so many people on the stage? Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what you're saying.
or I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's me versus what's your name again, sir?
Yugi.
Yugi. And then the judge is 12? All right, so for the rec, it's gonna be me, Kylo versus Yugi, and the judge is 12. The
Yeah.
proposition
I'm
will
definitely not
be
judging.
God exists.
Right.
You're not judging?
And I just Detroiterism.
Are you judging or not? Are you judging?
I don't think
just put it down.
Detroiter is. I think
Just put it down.
No, I'm not. I assume 12 is. I don't know.
No, go
Oh, when Detroiter said he's not judging, he sounded like 12 to me for some reason.
Yeah, they sound some.
All right.
But yeah.
Well,
so just a quick clarification. Wait, real quick. Just a quick clarification before the debate. All I mean by theism is just the view that there's a mind that created the universe. I'm not committing myself to any specific views like classical theism or any specific properties. All I'm defending is that there is in fact a mind that created the universe.
okay. And what do you take a mind to be?
You can leave the concept opaque but exclude physical theories because obviously the
No,
mind
it's
would be
literally
physical.
it's like I don't know what to take that term to mean.
No, yeah. I'm saying like read the term mind neutrally, like fill in whatever view you want, just exclude the physical view.
What happens if I only affirm a physical view?
I mean, you can, I guess. Right? You might.
Well, then
Maybe
there
you
would
want to say
be a
God has a shmind.
problem. What would a shmind be?
No, because you can just whatever God has that allows him to be intentional.
Oh, I want to tell you something. It seems like there's always a delay on the stage or something. So
Yeah.
please don't get mad if you think I'm over talking, given that it's a delay.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, basically, I just understand you can call it a shmind, you can call it a mind, whatever you want, whatever God has. I take it that that's just the thing that allows God to be intentional. So, and all I mean by intentional is it allows God to do things for a purpose.
Okay, so this agent has some type of will, and you're saying most likely we share the same intuition on what's being said there by mind.
Well, no, the statement there was that I'm just leaving the concept of mind opaque.
By opaque, what's being said here?
I'm not committing to any specific theories. You can kind of fill in the mind variable for whatever, as long as it is inclusive of something non-physical.
Like, what does it mean to say God has a mind, and then the reference there is just N/A? It's like nothing there. I don't like what?
It's the idea is that, like, imagine I say all things are physical, right? And then you ask me, oh well, what do you mean by thing, right? And then I say leave the concept opaque. Whatever you can fill that variable in for that's relevant to that's relevant to the kind of discussion, that would be whatever thing means, right? And so in kind of the relevant sense, it would be that. So imagine I say God is just a mind that created the universe. You can fill in the mind variable for whatever can fill the mind role.
Can you give us a working definition?
You can just understand the mind to be something which allows intentionality.
And are you, I'm not being pedantic to be honest, but are you using allow in a modal sense?
I'm just using allow in whatever sense you use it in. It's not that. So I'm not saying something like if you lack it, you can't have intentionality or whatever, right? All I'm saying is that all I'm saying is something like whenever. So you can understand it to be sufficient, not necessary.
Okay, but okay, sure. Okay.
And also real quick,
I
it could
won't.
be that it
Okay.
could real quick, yeah, it could be that God has a different kind of mind than we do, right? So suppose that you try to argue for physicalism. I'll just do the move I did earlier, where I'll say, okay, well, God has a shmind, or a shmind can be non-physical.
And a mind is just going to be the type of property which allows an agent to have intentionality. Is that correct?
Yeah, so you might want to take a more robust theory of minds with respect to humans, but with respect to God, that's all the word means.
All right, that's fine. Okay. Sure. And then what do you take the universe to be?
The set of all things that are within causal relation.
Causal relation. What theory of causation do you take?
You can leave the causation variable opaque. Just whatever you take it to be.
Okay. Um, you think there are some definitions of causation which where if used would be applicable
Well, yeah, I mean, all ones that I'm familiar with seem to be compatible.
to God? But then, well, then you don't want to say God is of this set, which comprises the universe, given that under some definitions of causation.
Were you asking me, is God within causal relations?
Well, when you said leave it opaque, but and you want to say you can fill it in with any thesis. I'm saying there you don't want to say there are some theses because there are theses where God stands in causal relation given what they take causation to be. But you don't want to say that given what you take the universe to be.
No, I take the view that causal relations are reflexive. So, and I take it that no relation to God is reflexive. So I take it that God causes all things, but no things are capable of causing God. And since the relation there is non-reflexive, then God isn't in causal relation.
Well, okay, so just take a view where God is a type of being which can change, and you have a thesis of causality that allows for that, and you want to say that's incompatible to have God being causal relation in the sense that he's
Right,
changing.
because there are no things that relate to God, and because the causal relation is reflexive, no relation to God causally
What's
is
what's
reflexive. So
well,
things.
okay. I think I understand what you're saying. Mm, are you, because I mean, what happens if you use even you think even in an explanatory sense, uh, an explanatory view of causation would still not work for you, or would not work to be applied to God?
Yeah, okay. Let me let me explain it again. So I take it that whenever we're describing causal relations, a fact that is true of that relation is that it's reflexive, right? And what that means is that if God relates to something, then that thing also relates to God, right? So it would be that. So suppose that I'm caused by God, right? On this view, it would be that in some sense, I now am capable of causing God, or whatever you take the reflexive relation to be, or whatever. And I deny that there is no, like, I deny that that's the way that causal relations work with respect to God. Because I don't think there is such a thing where you can cause God, or you can constitute God, or anything like that.
And you want to say that's analytically true, right?
God constitutes other things. It doesn't. It can be conceptually true, not analytically true. It's compatible.
What's meant here by conceptually true, and what would be the argument for that?
With both. Well, okay. So all that conceptually true is just that upon kind of a priori examination of the thing we're talking about, you come to the conclusion that that's a fact of it. Or it doesn't necessarily have to be a priori. It can also be a posteriori, where you kind of look at it and you like think about examples you see of it or whatever, and then you figure out things like that. Right? Now, to be clear, I take it that the first one I described is an analytic relation, right? And I take it that analytic relations are also conceptual relations, right? Right? But I think that conceptual relations are broader in the sense that they allow a posteriori examinations, right? And then the argument for why this is true, it could just be that that's how I use the language. Another argument is that it's true of God conceptually that God cannot be caused, as God is just a mind that creates the universe, and the universe is all things that there are that are within causal relation. And if something were to create, or if something were to be, or if God were to be in causal relations, then God would be a part of the universe, but God creates the universe, and so it would turn out that God causes himself, but nothing can cause itself.
Okay, I got you.
So that would be why God is necessarily without causal relation.
Okay. I don't know how relevant this is, but I want to ask, do you think the universe could be one which is necessary?
Do I think the universe can be necessary?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, okay, so I'm sort of agnostic to that. I think that it's unlikely to be necessary, but if it can be necessary, that's a different question. Like, I'm just agnostic to that.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking under a logical sense, but so
Like, is it
you want to
logically
say,
possible?
yeah.
I mean, I'm like, it could be logically possible. It could be logically impossible. I'm just agnostic to that. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
to be clear, the reason why I'm skeptic, or the reason why I'm agnostic, is just because, first of all, I don't think it's relevant, and second of all, I don't think
Yes,
that
it's not relevant.
I've like examined the universe enough to come to that.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
I've
we can
examined if the universe can be necessary to come to that. Sorry.
get back to your argument. So the universe is going to be the set of things which then cause a relation, and God is going to be the creator of the universe, and this agent is one with a mind. Okay, and what's meant here by creator?
Just the thing that causes all other things, or causes the universe in specific, unless you might want to say that it's possible for there to be multiple.
Can you give us a working
things, like,
because I can't do this opaque shit. So can you just give us a working definition of cause?
Of cause? Well, the thing. So, I mean, just take any theory you want. Like, you might want to think that cause. You might want to be a Humean about cause, where you think that to cause something is just to rearrange its atoms, and there's no strict metaphysical relation between a cause and its causer or anything like that. And that's kind of the weakest view I can think of. So you might want to take that. And my argument works on that view as well.
Okay, so what it means to cause something is to rearrange its atoms,
Well, that's the Humean view.
and you're saying this works?
Yeah, it would work on my view. Yeah,
Okay.
rearrange or create its atoms. You might want to say.
Can
I take it that creation is a type of
you
rearrangement.
think you take atoms to be like physical properties or something?
I take atoms to be whatever the smallest physical property is, yeah.
Can you have something which is caused? Well, my bad. Wait, let me think. You said the set of things that stand in causal relation. So nothing which is immaterial will stand in causal relation, right? Let's
Yep.
see. Hmm. Okay, so do you think there are physical things that exist that don't stand in causal relation?
No.
Okay, everything which is physical necessarily stands in causal relation.
Yep. As in, it relates to God, but God doesn't relate to it.
Hmm. Is that necessarily true?
As in, they relate to God, but God doesn't relate to them.
No, as in physical things necessarily stand in causal relation.
Uh, well, I mean, I said earlier that I'm uh agnostic on if the universe not being caused is possible. So I'm
That's
also
not what I'm
agnostic. So,
asking. I
wait,
ask
because if
you,
wait. If it were the case that that is possible, then it's also possible for there to be a physical thing that doesn't
but
stand in causal
how are
relation.
you? I'm curious on, it seems, I don't know how you'd be licensed to use this type universal quantifier when, you know, you can't say it's necessary, and I don't know what sample size you're working with, but
Well,
if you are saying all, then go ahead.
right. All I'm saying is that where the domain is restricted to just things that actually exist, all things are caused. All things are caused. But if the domain is restricted to all things that are logically possible, I'm agnostic to if, to if all physical things are within causal relation.
No, but I'm keeping the domain restricted to all things that exist, and I'm just curious how under this domain you've established all things that exist, which are physical, stand in causal relation.
I'm
Because
agnostic to that. I just said
so then how would why you're not licensed to say all things that are physical do stand in causal relation? You can't say that then.
I am when the domain is restricted to things that exist,
Hmm.
not all things that are logically possible.
But once again, we're not talking about things that are logically possible. We're talking about I ask you, do
Well, if
all
it's
things that
things that
currently
exist,
Mhm.
if it's things that exist, and yeah, I sign off on that, and then I just think that's true because they relate to God.
Okay, well, so all things that currently exist, which are
All
physical, are necessarily stand in causal relation, correct?
where currently stands in for all spatiotemporal points that will occur within this world. Yeah.
Okay, and is that to say if you were to have something which currently exists now and does not stand in causal relation, there will be a contradiction, right?
If there were something that exists now and it wasn't in causal relation, something that physically exists now and doesn't stand in causal relation, that would be a contradiction.
That's what you're committed to, correct?
Uh, well, it depends on what you mean by contradiction. So I think that it would contradict the earlier proposition, right? But I don't think that, strictly speaking, it entails like a logical. Like I don't think it contradicts what a physical thing is.
Oh, I'm confused. So let's just be clear. You said all things that currently are physical, they
Yeah.
stand in causal relation. That's necessarily true. So that means if there's something which currently physically exists and is not in causal relation, that's impossible.
It's impossible. It's impossible if both propositions are true. But if the second proposition is
Hmm.
true, then the first one is false. Like I agree, it contradicts the thing I affirmed, but it doesn't, strictly speaking, entail a contradiction because it would just falsify the first statement.
Well, okay, can you explicate the two sentences you're referring to, the first two statements? What are you referring to?
The first sentence is all things that exist uh, are within a causal relation, and then the second sentence is there is a thing that exists that isn't within causal relation. Right? I
What
take it that the first statement would
you
just
don't want to
false.
say
I take
all
it,
things that exist and in causal relation,
yeah,
do you?
all things that physically exist. Sorry.
Okay.
Right. I just take it that the second would falsify the first.
Oh, can you say the second again? Because I interrupted you.
Uh, there exists something physically. Uh, there exists something physically that isn't within a causal relation.
Gotcha. Okay, sure. So what's the argument? What would be the argument for the first sentence or for the first proposition?
God is a mind that creates the universe. If the universe is the set of all things which exist within causal relations. I take it that to exist within a causal relation, at least in this world, is identical to it being physical. Not to be clear, that's stating a secondary intention, not a primary intention. And then that would also, and then if those are true, then if God creates the universe, if God creates the universe, then all things causally relate to God. Therefore, all things causally relate to God.
And what's the argument for P1?
For God creates the... Well, that's just asking me for the argument for God.
Yeah.
Is that what you want? Okay, sure. Yeah, so I mean, you've heard of Bayesian fine-tuning, right?
Mm,
You cut out. Did you say yeah?
no.
Okay, yeah. So it's just... So it's more expected on bare theism that the universe be finely tuned than on bare atheism. And to be clear, bare atheism is just the view that there is not a mind that created the universe, and the universe is finely tuned. And then the third premise is if some piece of data D is more expected on some hypothesis H than some second hypothesis H1, then all else equal, H is more likely than H1. Then and then the conclusion is just all else equal, theism is more likely than atheism.
And what about the God hypothesis expects fine-tuning?
Because I take it that God is an agent, and I take it that agents are axiologically motivated.
Axiologically motivated. What's being said there?
Just motivated by moral reasons or value reasons in general.
Value reasons. Agents are
Yeah,
motivated. So you're saying this agent value would like have the value to do this for what?
yeah, well, okay, so it could be that it could be like a moral reason. So like God wants to create life or something because there's a moral reason in favor of creating life. It might be that uh, God really likes aesthetic facts, and so God uh, wants to create like a pretty world, and this world's pretty because there's like war and stuff, and it's like really dramatic. And then there's other kinds of value facts that God could be sympathetic to.
Hmm. Mm. I don't know if I have a response to the Bayesian argument, bro, because I don't even study Bayesian epistemology yet. So, I mean, let's think. And are you want to say you could just stipulate this of the hypothesis that maybe, this agent just desires X, Y, Z?
Well, I think it's stipulated within what an agent is.
Are you saying that's analytically true?
Yeah, I just take it that an agent is something that's axiologically motivated.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you can get the same outcome from some non-agential agent, maybe a dispositional type being?
Uh, well, it depends on what you mean by disposition. If you're asking me like, if you're asking me like trying to stalking horse, like, could the universe be disposed towards the kinds of things? I mean, I'd say yeah, but I mean, the question of if it's possible is different from if it's probable. So I think it's just,
Well, I'm not asking is it possible. I'm saying, well, look, I guess what would be the response if you know, you create the hypothesis that the universe has the disposition to have itself finely tuned. What would be the response there?
well, okay, so the issue is that, so on its face, that hypothesis just sounds less plausible. And I can give you an example why. Uh, so imagine that you like looked in the sky tomorrow, you like looked up and you saw uh, like God's name in every language that's ever existed, and then the first 12 books of the Bible written out. I mean, everyone would say that you should update on theism given that, but uh, you could construct a kind of similar stalking horse where the universe just has a disposition towards making the stars do that. But I mean, everyone here agrees that you should update on theism given those parameters.
Okay, what would you say if you took a hypothesis that I don't know the name of the view where they think the universe has a mind, right?
A pantheist view? Or sorry,
So
a panpsychist view. Sorry. That was a really dumb statement.
take the view where the universe has a mind, and in the same regard, on your account, the mind explains the fine tuning. The universe, which has a mind, explains the fine tuning, but this hypothesis might win out on parsimony, given you can lose out on like the creation talk or being a creator.
Wait, okay, so first of all, I just think we have lower priors on a pantheist view than we do on a theist view, and I can explain why. So, I mean, think about like whenever I think of consciousness, I think of like minds, I think of brains, I think of like animals, I think of agents, stuff like that, right? What I don't think of are like uh other things like rocks or like stars or stuff like that. And so that's just one reason to think we have lower prior probability. It's just that we have low priors on
But how
non-brain-like things having
wait,
minds.
but this your priors thing counteracts your view, given you don't take God to be one with a brain. How
No,
did the priors not go
because
ahead?
God's queer. The issue is that we know, like we can look at the universe, we know the things that the universe is comprised of, and we know that those things tend to not have minds, right? But God's this queer thing that
And
we don't
what's
have the
meant here
same
by
induction
queer?
with, just unlike other things.
Hmm. Okay. Unlike other things in what regard?
Well, I mean, so there's not really things there's not things we can really compare to God. I mean, we can like say, um, like there are things we can kind of like approximately describe God. It's like God has a mind, but that mind could be different from what we're describing when we point at humans. God causes things, but God's not within causal relation. So the thing is that God is just unlike all other things in the sense that, I
Are you
mean, all the things
equivocating
that
on
we look at.
terms? Are you,
No,
I'm confused.
which part of there do you think I equivocated on?
Well, when you say he has a mind, but not a mind like ours, are you
Well,
using mind in two different senses there?
well, what I said was that God has a mind, but it could not be, or it could be a mind that's not like ours. So the point is that, I mean, I
And
said
why
this
couldn't that be
earlier.
true of the
Wait,
universe? Why couldn't the universe have a mind and that not be a mind like ours?
well, real quick, I'll finish what I'll say and then I'll answer your question. So I said this earlier. So you could take a theory of minds, but that theory only describes non-God minds. So like, it only describes like my mind. Like, say I'm a physicalist and I think that minds are just identical to brains. It would turn out that uh, that would be, or sorry, it would turn out that that would be um, only about humans, but God could have a mind in some other sense, right? The point is that I'm leaving the mind concept with respect to God opaque, but you can take a view, and you could also take different views about minds and humans and minds and God.
But we
And
have
to
a
answer,
working definition.
and to answer the second question, so the reason why we can't do that for the universe is because the universe is not queer. Like we know what the universe is comprised of, and to take a panpsychist view, you would have to take the view that
You know what the
things that
total
are
universe is comprised of?
we have we have a pretty good induction about what the universe is
How
comprised of.
much of the universe
It's
how much
comprised of
of the
wait real
universe
quick.
do you think we know of?
I don't depends on what you mean by no. I think that we have a pretty good guess about what's in most of the universe. It's a bunch of rock, a bunch of gas, a bunch
How
of
much of the
stars.
observable universe, like how we observe, like you're
I have
saying
no
that
clue,
we,
but that's not relevant.
so how are you, it is relevant given you're saying we know
No,
what the
because you can
universe is,
project the data we have.
but yeah, that depends on your sample size, and I'm just asking what sample size are you working with?
Okay, what better explains the data that we have? Like we look out and we see there's a bunch of we look out in the universe, we see a bunch of rocks and stars, right? And we see like gas and stuff, right? What best explains the data? That like randomly or that all of that is true, and then like randomly out there there's the mind particle, that that constitutes the universe having intentionality, or that all things within the universe are like rock, gas, and like stars and stuff, right?
Yeah,
It's
but
just
in the
best
same
explained
sense,
by the second hypothesis.
but in the same sense that you want to say we have particles which, under at least some theory of mind, actually like explain the awareness. You want to say now it's unlikely that there is some, on this hypothesis, there is some other entity also like that, right? But that just encompasses the whole universe. You're saying that's unlikely.
I'm saying it's unlikely that the thing that doesn't have a brain has a mind. Unless you
And
think that the universe
you're
has a
not, wait,
brain.
wait, 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 wait. Just to be clear, we are using mind in the same sense we signed off on just the property which allows one to be agential.
Well, no, okay, so first of all, that's the definition of mind with respect to God. It's just whatever allows him, or whatever allows for
I'm saying we're
intentionality.
applying that hypothesis. I mean, my bad. We're applying that definition under the hypothesis I'm stipulating.
Right, that's right, but that's okay, so that's the primary intention of the word mind. But you might think that the secondary intention is different with respect to physical things, such that that can only be actualized by brain-like things. And I'm sympathetic to a view like that. But you might think that that mind is used in a different sense with respect to God, where you're using it only as the primary intention, and then you just leave the secondary intention opaque, where you're just agnostic as to what allows him to have intentionality, right? But the issue is that with respect to physical things, we have a really strong reason to believe that we use the term mind with respect to brains, right? And then I can just there's just like an obvious induction for that.
Um, so let me think, because like once again, I gotta study theory of mind and Bayesian epistemology for this shit, but I don't want to go in circles. So, because I don't know, I know there are some views where people think like some AI system can have a mind, and they don't take a strict physicalist view. But you want to say we observe agents with minds having brains.
Or brain-like things.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like just keep talking and talk. I guess I'll just like stop here. I'll just probably concede. Concede just given I don't have like an adequate response ready yet.
All right, bud.
Okay, that's fine. It was a good talk.
Yeah, it was good.
Good debate. I did take
ZYXW something, by the way. Go ahead.
okay since he left and all that stuff. Okay.
What were you gonna say?
No, I said I took some notes as I was playing Kovacs.
Just give us some then.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You can give your verdict.
Yeah. I think Yugi won. That's my verdict. Of course, I could give reasons, but since you conceded, and it's also seemed Yugi was well prepared to answer like all your objections or all your questions, and I think Kylo, since you admitted that you needed to study more on a bit Bayesian epistemology and theory of mind, yeah,
I'm interested in hearing the notes.
So this is what I wrote down. So it's so sloppy. Okay. So the first thing I put down was okay, Yugi, mind intentionality sufficient. Then second line is Kylo just questioning. Then Kylo grants definition of God. And then universe, set of all things and causal relations.
Yeah, those are just notes, twin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
So yeah. Wait, it's like that for the rest, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Okay, I go play more Rivals.
All right. Dude, I did that because I'm high.